Hello, welcome to all my viewers to my YouTube channel Hoogar Social Academy. I am your mentor, your guide, your teacher, Shrikant Hoogar. Here I came with one more new topic for you from the history, the chapter called Advent of Europeans to India of class 10 standard. In this chapter, dear students, we are going to learn about different subtopics. The chapter is totally about the introduction. First topic we are going to learn, then we are going to learn about the fall of the Constantinople, then one after one we are going to learn related to the Europeans who have arrived to the country called as India. They are the Portuguese, they are Dutch, the English, as well as the French. Moreover, we are going to learn about the wars which fought between the English and French, which has been called as the First Carnatic War, Second Carnatic War, Third Carnatic War. And later we are going to learn about the Battle of Plassey, which fought in the 1757, Battle of Buxar in the 1764, and we are going to end our topic with Robert Clive in the year 1765. So these all topics we are going to study in this video. And let us begin with our chapter from the introduction part. So there was a great demand of the Indian products in the European market. And this connection was very peaceful. It was been going on in the between the Asia as well as between the Europe. Let us begin and understand our topic, right? Regarding the good development of the trade between the Europe and between the Asia. As I said, Indian products were having a lot of demand in the European market, and some of among them are one is pepper. In the Hindi, it is called as a kali mirch. One is cumin. It is called as a jeera, cinnamon, dalchini, cardamom, elaichi, ginger, adrak. Apart from that, many more other number of spices were also been there, which were having a lot of demand in the European market. But the trade which was been there, okay, the trade which was been there. Hope you have got pepper, kali mirch, cumin, jeera, cinnamon, dalchini, cardamom, elaichi, ginger, adrak. These are the nothing but they are the Indian spices which were having a lot of demand in the European market. So trade was been there. There was a trade. Now here I will try to make you to easy to understand the journey. Okay, now here a mark, and here one more mark I will do, and here one more mark. Okay, this point, okay, which has been referred as a what? As a Constantinople. Is been Constantinople. Okay, which was even called as a gateway of European market. Gateway of European market. Okay, now this is presently lies in where? In the Turkey. Okay, and today it is been known with the name called as Istanbul. And this side, one side, this is the Europe, and this side it's nothing but it's a Asia. And India, which lies in the where? In the Asia. As I said, there was a great demand of Indian spices from the Asia to up to the where? Up to the Europe. So this is the connectivity. This route from where this trade was being done, it was called as a land route. It was called as a land route. It was there. Okay, so here two traders, one called as a Italian merchants, one are who are called as a Italian merchants, and another ones were Arab merchants. Now here, very interesting to know that from Asia to the Constantinople, from Asia to the way to the Constantinople was been under the monopoly of Arab merchants. Under the monopoly of Arab merchants who used to look after from the Asia to up to the where? Up to the Constantinople. Now from here to Europe, from here to the Europe. Now this used to observed by whom? By the Italian merchant who used to look after. Italian merchant used to look after. So Italian merchant was having the monopoly in the from the where? From the Constantinople to up to the where? Up to the Europe. And Arab merchants were having the monopoly from the Constantinople to the Asia. The trade was very fine. It was been going on. There was no confusion, nothing was been there, very happy trade business was been going on. But suddenly what we have seen in the year 1453 AD, in the year 1453 AD, the place called as Constantinople was attacked. In the year 1453 AD, the place called as Constantinople is being attacked. And this attack is been done by whom? The mark might it will going to help you. This Constantinople is been attacked by whom? By the Ottoman Turks. Who attacked? Ottoman Turks attacked on the place called as Constantinople and captured it. And captured this. This caused what it is that the trade business which was been there, the trade business which was there from here to here, Asia to Constantinople, Arab merchants, everything is fine going on. But from Constantinople to up to the Europe, this was totally disturbed. It was totally disturbed. Now, disturbance reason, who is this person? Ottoman Turks. What he did, he allowed to do the trade to the Italian merchants. But they have to pay high, heavy taxes, which further didn't felt any sort of fruitful to the Italian merchants, which caused what it is that they have to think of the another way or another path to reach up to the where? Up to the Asia, to have to fulfill the demands, the products which are having heavy demand in the where? In the European market. Now, what happened now? In this part, as Italian merchants were having the monopoly over there, and moreover, from the Europe itself, the country called as Spain and the country called as Portugal, they were in a search of to find out new route which would connect and even to break the monopoly of the Italian merchant. And in this part, the first country who was responsible to reconnect the trade business from the Asia to up to the where? Up to the Europe. From Asia to up to the Europe. And this was none other than called the country called as a Portugal, which we even say it as a Portuguese. We even call it as what? Call it as a Portuguese. So now land route which was there, it is closed. This side no problem. Arab merchants, they as usual they are doing the work. No problem. But problem was related to from Constantinople up to the where? Up to the Europe. So the land route is been closed, which made the Europe to think on it, as there was a heavy demand of which one? Of the Indian product. And in this section what we have seen that the Portuguese, the country called as a Portugal and Spain, they played a very important role in the way in exploring or finding out the new route which would connect up to the where? From the Europe to the Asia. From Europe to Asia. Okay, so which was this place? This was Constantinople. And this was Asia. Now, the Portuguese, Spain and Portugal, who were very eager to over there. Now, these nations, what they did, they encouraged the number of navigators to find out a new path. And at last, the dream come to true where Portuguese or the Europe was responsible for the find out of the new route which was called as a sea route. which was called as a sea route, and a navigator from Portugal called as Vasco da Gama in the year 1498, who reached up to the place called as a Calicut and made availability of the path to have a connection between the Asia to up to the where, up to the Europe. Okay, so now we can say that Portuguese, the country called as Portugal, or the Portuguese were the to re-establish the trade business from the Asia to up to the where, up to the Europe. Dear. Now, soon as Vasco da Gama reaches up to the Calicut in the year 1498 and the business as it moves on, it was now the Portuguese who decides to step up in the way in the country called as India and to establish his trade. The majority of the Europeans, all the Europeans, the four Europeans, the English, the Portuguese, the Dutch, as well as the French, who all came to this country called as India. Initially, purpose was to only to do the trade, but later part, after settling down there, then they become very greedy related to accumulation of the money. And in this junction, we have seen that the country called as India, our native rulers faced lot of problems from these Europeans, and we have seen many number of wars from the start of the 15th century to up to the independence 1947. Okay, now what happened? Now this is Vasco da Gama who reached it to the 1498, and now Portuguese decided to send to the country called as India. Portuguese decided to send Francisco de Almeida. Francisco de Almeida to the country called as India. Francisco de Almeida, who comes to the country called as India and tries to establish his supremacy in the country called as India, and in that part also he comes with with his policy called as a blue water policy. Blue water policy, definitely he has to do, and definitely the Portuguese will make him to do it also. It's because of on the sea route, the Portuguese were the one who were responsible for to re-establish the connection between the Asia and between the Europe, which made that definitely they will have some sort of their power. So keeping that in the mind, Francisco de Almeida brought up the policy called as a blue water policy, attention towards the water compared to the land. So they want their monopoly now. They want their monopoly on the sea route. On the sea route. Now Francisco de Almeida, who introduced the blue water policy, right? Moreover, the trade concentration was being done towards the sea route. Another side which made, right, Portuguese, the greediness which increased, it made the Portuguese to call back Francisco de Almeida once again back to the country, and instead of him, Alfonso de Albuquerque came to the country called as India. Okay, Alfonso de Albuquerque came to the country called as India. As soon as Alfonso de Albuquerque came to the India, he went for the expansion of the Portuguese trade as well as expansion. One, trade, vyapar, as well as expansion. Okay, and in this expansion, what we have seen that he came into the conflict. He also came into the conflict with the Portuguese. He came into the conflict with Bijapur Sultan. He came into conflict with the Bijapur Sultan. The Bijapur Sultan called as Ismail Adil Shah. Ismail Adil Shah. He came into the conflict who was ruling on the where on the place called as Bijapur. Alfonso was able to defeat to the whom to the Ismail Adil Shah, and from him he took the place called as Goa. Goa place which was taken by whom? By Portugal or Portuguese. From there onwards, what we have seen that Portuguese went on establishing of his expansion of his empire. This is the reason Alfonso, he is called as a real founder of Portuguese. He is called as a real founder of Portuguese in the country called as India. Okay, right? So who came after Vasco da Gama? A navigator, Francisco de Almeida, was been brought, and he introduced which policy? Blue water policy, supremacy over the water more than the land. Alfonso after him, Alfonso de Albuquerque, who comes to the way to the country called as India, have a conflict with the Bijapur Sultan called as Ismail Adil Shah, who has been defeated. Goa has been taken by the Portugal, and from there onwards, Goa, which becomes the capital of or central administrative of the Portuguese. This is the reason he is called as Alfonso de Albuquerque. He has been called as a real founder of Portuguese in the country called as India. The very next topic, it is talk related to the Dutch. It's a talk related to which one? To the Dutch. So these all about which one? About the Portuguese it was. Now, who came? The Dutch in 1602. In 1602, and as they came over here, we found them at the place called Java, Sumatra, Indonesia, as well as India. As well as what? India. But could not able to stand or could not able to expand his empire due to the its two competitor called as a English as well as French. But till that time he was able to establish his number of trading centers in the different areas, establishment of his factories at the place called as Surat, Machilipatnam, Nagpatnam, and few more places where he establishes factories. But as I said, could not able to stand in front of English and French, and he has to lose his supremacy from the country called as India. Okay, dear. So these were the two topics related to the Portuguese as well as related to the Dutch. In my second part, I will come with the two more Europeans, English as well as the French, and then we are also going to move with the wars called as a first Carnatic War, second Carnatic War, third Carnatic War, and some wars between our native rulers in the form of Battle of Plassey and Battle of Buxan. Dear friends, at the end, like and subscribe should be done by you, which is going to encourage to me to bring the new videos. Thank you to all my viewers.